In the early 80s, Deng Xiaoping became the de facto leader of the Communist Party of China, marking the beginning of a period of reforms aimed at opening up to international trade. This led to a revolution in the agricultural, industrial, commercial, and service sectors, including the opening of the markets of Shanghai and Shenzhen. This period is known as socialism with Chinese characteristics. Hello everyone, I'm Luca, and this is Dengix and Age. We have asked ourselves why Chinese companies decide to go public in America. Sure, there's a lot of money on the American stock exchange, but there are other factors as well. But first, let's go back to the 80s and the rise of the new leader, Deng Xiaoping, better known as the chief architect of China's economic reform. With him, China began to assert itself in Western markets and attract foreign investment. Initially, the new Chinese leader had to deal with an economy that was far behind the rest of the world. So, he focused on China's labor force, and starting from the 80s, foreign investments focused on the manufacturing sector, which was booming at the time. The low prices allowed Chinese industrial products to sweep away accidental competition. They could afford these prices thanks to the low quality of raw materials, the absence of brands, and the low cost of labor. But China was also seen as a country where industries could be relocated due to the low production costs. Slowly, China became the world's factory. In 2001, with its entry into the World Trade Organization, China changed its focus. Before 2001, China was focused on increasing its GDP, which meant increasing production. After 2001, the focus shifted to the liberalization of services, such as transportation and investment, so foreign investments flowed towards these industries. By 2009, foreign investments in China's service sector had tripled compared to 2001 levels. By 2010, thousands of multinational companies had invested in China. For several years, Apple had its pods assembled in Shenzhen by Foxconn. According to the United Nations report, China ranked first among the countries with the most foreign investments in the world. To get an idea of how much Chinese production has increased during the opening up period, let's look at the GDP data. In 1979, China's GDP was $178 billion, while Italy's was $393 billion. At that time, Italy was the sixth largest producer in the world, while China was 11th. From the late 90s, China began to grow at an astonishing rate. In 2010, China had a GDP of $6 trillion and surpassed Japan as the world's second largest economy. The change in direction of the Chinese government brought about several changes. Instead of focusing on reducing costs to beat Western competitors, they started to focus on quality and high technology, which increased labor costs. One of the sectors that benefited from this change was telecommunications. This is why Huawei and Xiaomi have become world leaders in this sector. At the same time, there was a new period of closing off to the world, as the Beijing government understood that it had one of the most potentially powerful economies in the world. Therefore, they pursued independence from external influences, often imposing strict rules on foreign investments. One fundamental step to push many to go public outside the nation was to demonstrate its potential. Well, first of all, we can define China as a self-contained microcosm. Just look at the population. In 1980, the total Chinese population was 987 million. By 2006, it had reached 1 billion. So, why are Chinese companies listing on American stock exchanges? Well, the answer is simple: money. The U.S. stock market is the largest and most liquid in the world, making it an attractive destination for Chinese companies looking to raise capital. In addition, listing on a U.S. exchange can also provide these companies with greater exposure and credibility in the global market. However, there are also risks involved in listing on a U.S. exchange. Chinese companies must comply with U.S. securities laws and regulations, which can be a complex and costly process. In recent years, there have been concerns about the accuracy of financial information provided by some Chinese companies listed in the U.S., leading to a crackdown by U.S. regulators and increased scrutiny on Chinese listings. So, while listing on a U.S. exchange can bring benefits, it also comes with potential risks and challenges. That's why it's important for investors to do their due diligence and carefully evaluate Chinese companies before investing in them. That's all for today's video. I hope you found this discussion on Chinese companies listing on American stock exchanges informative. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more videos on finance and investing. Thanks for watching.